Oh, come on, computer. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey there, hi there, ho there. How are y'all doing? I'm just trying to get everything started here. I'm just haggling a little bit. Waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. No music today. I'm just gonna run rainy mood. You know, little rainfall in the background kind of thing. There we go. Enjoy the rain. The rainy, sprinkly. It's supposed to get snow and freezing rain tonight. The house is already getting dang chilly. Oh, how y'all doing? I miss the music already. I miss the music. I wish I could play the music. I'm not going to play the music because it seems to cause bandwidth troubles to have music playing in one window and this playing in the other. Because the people that write programmings are a-holes. Come here. Come on. Stuck on something. Just get the cord out of there. There we go. Get my drawing pad, Wacom pad. Find my pen. Find my micro. There we go. Yay. I'm not up to this. I'm really not. I'm not up to anything anymore. I've been having some problems. There are somebody has been dialing this number on my cell over and over and over. Hold on. Hello? Is anyone there? Some bunch of spammers. So you know, have gotten hold of my cell phone number and are dialing it over and over and over. I've gotten dozens of calls today. Nobody on the other end. Most of them, nobody on the other end. And every now and then, I'll hear a voice mumbling off in the distance, and then they'll hang up. I'm getting really angry. Every time I manage to get a voice, I tell them, I'm not interested. Take me off your list. And here comes somebody else calling. the guy who is responsible for spam mail, the invention of spam mail, is literally living. He moved out of country. He's hiding in a country that doesn't have any extradition treaty. Literally, he's like Brazil or something. Because the courts of America and Europe want to drag his ass home. I can't imagine that the guy that invented telemarketing is doing much better. It's a criminal institution. I may talk a little slow. I got a back tooth that's crumbling, and it's sort of, it's poking the side of my tongue. Hurts. Makes it hard to talk. Don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, I just don't. Nobody's, I've got my help wanted sign in the window. Nobody's called. Nobody's contacted me. Nobody's tried to. I put my house number on there in case you're wondering, not my cell phone number. I'm not that stupid. It's supposed to be his cell phone is basically for emergencies, in case lines go down or something. That was the original intent. Here. Feel like crap. Trying to open up Manga Studio, and it's sort of looking at me. Tried to do some writing this morning, managed to get like half a paragraph. Not really this morning. I didn't wake up until like went to bed fairly early. Still didn't get up until like noon or 1 o'clock. Depends on your definition of up too. I don't really sleep solid anymore. Have to wake up 2 or 3 times a night just to pee. I keep a pee bucket I'm sure you're thrilled to hear this, but let's put it this way: I know for an objective fact that I pee at least half a gallon a night. In half pint increments. Well, maybe 1 pint. And when I eventually have to sit because of acid reflux or something like that. I'll have to sit up and on the edge of the bed to get some medicine or something. Then I will I will fall in and out of sleep sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'll keep trying to convince myself you really need to get back all the way back into bed. And by the time I'm focused enough to do that, I'm already awake. I don't exactly wake up. I don't sleep and then wake up. I sort of have increments of wakefulness, I think would be a good term. I could talk about how I meant to do this, that, or the other, how I intended to spend my day, and none of it will make any difference. Breakfast was. What was for breakfast? Hmm. Don't know what to think. Don't know what to say. Really tired and really angry at myself, and that's tired of being annoyed with myself. It's uh, a fairly quiet day. Not much to it. Sit down, try and get something done. Fall asleep in my seat. Let's see, breakfast was oatmeal, I think. I have one canister of oatmeal left, about half canister actually. And dinner was French fries. I got like 2 or 3 bags of frozen French fries. You know, the barbecue kind. I don't know if they're really barbecue, but they're grilled. You know, steak French fries or no, I forget. Well, anyway, they're French fries and they're kind of spicy. So I had French fries, a big plate of French fries, and some ranch dressing because I'm out of ketchup. I don't mind you telling, and I don't mind telling you, I am really, really, really angry at the odd job girl. Well, it isn't really fair. It isn't her fault. But on the other hand, she's not done anything from her end to try and work around, the issues that are apparently not even bothered to call me back. Not bothered to call me back. Not bothered to suggest anyone living in the neighborhood that she's got relatives living in this trailer park. I believe her. I don't know if it's her step uncle or stepfather or something like that. But she last time I saw her, she said, "Don't worry, I won't leave you in the lurch." And here I am, lurched. And thank you, by the way, for the commission and the that paid for a couple of days of meals. If I'd have been able to get to the grocery store, it would have paid for a month of them. That's making me so angry. I'm so angry because just no one should have all their options cut off. It occurs to me, the closest people who live to me that I could call are my parents, and they live out in Lowell, which is like an hour's drive from here. I could call them and ask them to go pick up to go grocery shopping for me, but I hate asking them to do that because they are in their 70s, and I can't imagine that they like running around all over town. And I hate involving them with anything. I spent too long just trying to be independent, having to call mommy to pick up my lunch. An inch too far. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a big wuss. I've exhausted all my other options, apparently. Of course, I've also exhausted my cash, so it's a moot point for the next 2 weeks. I really, I really do not want to have. I do not want my parents to come in here and see uh, the dump my place has become. I do not want them to know what I am. I don't want to have to beg them to come all the way across, 2 counties just to pick up some groceries for me. I don't want. I don't want to hand them my uh, uh, debit card and my grocery list and ask them to and have them going over what it is I eat and drink. And I just I do not want uh, uh, I just don't want to do that. I think that makes me weak. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of that, but I'd also be ashamed of having them have to do my groceries for me and constant, and no, it's too much. Because I know that they would check in on me and then they would try to help me. Eh, and really, that's supposed to be the other way around. They would take one look at my place, and Dad would be trying to get out the step ladder, get up on the roof, and try and fix the shingles or something. Or he. This is a man who still hasn't quite figured out that he's gotten old. He's a Mr. Fix Everything. He's always done everything himself, you know. And I mean, we're talking everything from household repairs to pulling engines out of cars, and I know that both my parents, in their own way, each in their own way, would take one look at my circumstances, and despite the fact that they live, I forget how many miles away now, at least an hour's drive, they would be constantly over here trying to step in, you know. Oh yes, I heard about Stanley dying. That was sad. I mean, he was 95. It was inevitable. Obviously, it was going to be fairly soon. But I kind of hoped he would reach 100. But there goes the last person that was in that entire industry that was listening to the fans. That's the last guy. It's a tragedy. You watch and see how fast those movies start going downhill now. I wonder if they've got his cameo for Avengers 4 yet. It's going to be sad. They're going to look up one day and we're going to see him. We're going to be watching an Avengers movie, and there's not going to be a Stan Lee cameo. There's going to be something missing. And at the end of it, we'll realize, because they'll play in loving memory of Stan Lee. More, the whole comics industry was pretty much on the skids. Stan Lee was last of the old guard, I suppose. I told you about how he retained creative control of the Spider-Man newspaper comic. And in spite of everything that Joe Quesada and everybody else, he decreed that Peter Parker and Mary Jane, doggone it, in his comic, they were going to still be there, and she was still going to be there, and they were still going to be happily married. To heck with y'all. And I'm like, thank you, man. The only guy that was still listening to the fans. That's what's happening to most of these industries. They've stopped listening to the fans. Look what happened with Blizzard and the release of their. They did not listen to their fans. They're dumb enough. They're still doing the same mistake. They're trying to make a product that appeals to everyone. And the problem is, when you try and make a product that appeals to everyone, you eventually appeal to no one. And they think that the fan base isn't big enough for them. They want more. They want to increase the size of their fan base. They want to pull in new readers and a new generation of Let me put it this way. This is an actual case study from one of these social phenomenon books. There is a company, I forget what the name of the company was. I forget the name. We'd all recognize it if I could remember it. But they produce, their product is high-end scotch, fancy, aged scotch. And the guy that was writing the book, he says he's an advisor, and he says that every 4 or 5 years, they contact his consulting firm, and they panic because the first thing they learn is that the average age of their customer base is something like 60. And so they start, and they bring in this consultation group, and they find this out, and they say, "Oh my gosh, we need you to devise some way to get the young and hip crowd to start drinking our scotch, and we need to bring in more young people, so that we don't go out of business when all these old farts die off." And they have to spell it out. He said we have to spell it out to them over and over and over and over again every 5 to 10 years. He comes in and they tell him, "Look, your product does not appeal to a young palate. The reason that your average customer is 60 years old is because 60 is about the age where they start developing the tastes for that kind of stuff, not to mention the budget for it. And yes, your customer base is 60 years old and they're passing on constantly, but you got other people that are turning 60 all the time too. And you have not had any problems. And this has happened over and over. It happens every year. A bunch of old 60-year-olds die and a bunch of new people turn 60. And the comics industry is scared that they look at the comic book nerd boys, which we are, 20-something, 30-something, 30-somethings, balding, because worst deal ever, it's straight out of The Simpsons, And what never seems to occur to them is that these guys have stuck with comics for so long because of the timeless stories and values they have. And what's more, these aging nerds are being replaced by new nerds all the time. You're not chasing an aging demographic. But you can't explain this to people. You can't explain this to people in the industry, because they're in the industry. They're not in the art. An artist recognizes that you can only, when you catch lightning in a bottle, it's a rare thing. Uh, but a corporate executive wants to set up an assembly line for people to stand there catching lightning in a bottle 24/7. The investors want a nice, safe, reliable investment. If you want a nice, safe, reliable investment, go invest in undertaking. Okay, go invest in a laundromat, or in a morgue, or in a grocery store. Those are the three things everybody's always going to need: clean clothes, fresh food, and some place to bury themselves. When they keel over dead. Otherwise, risk is involved, and high risk. But they don't get that. You got these companies that make computer games. They've stopped listening to the computer game fans, because the computer game fans only play on consoles and computer games, desktop computers. But apparently the big money is all in mobile games, Candy Crush, and other stuff that fits on your cell phone. Of course, the reason for that is because of the highly unethical way they run the business with those things. They're deliberately designed microtransactions. They're deliberately designed to be simple, childishly simple, and to be highly addictive in a literal sense of the word. So that people will keep playing and playing and playing, and dropping a 5, a 10, a 20, every so often, to keep the game, to get the next level up in the game. That's the reason those people booed the release of Diablo Infinity, because it's going straight to the cell phones. And they might as well have just, the company might as well have just peed in the faces of the lifetime fans. We're going to make a crappy game and we're going to make a crappy game, get everybody addicted to it, and so that they're spending more money than enough money on their Diablo Infinite Online account to buy themselves a car every year. I'm not joking either. You go look at Candy Crush. They have micro transactions that go from anywhere from like $2 all the way up to $99. They wouldn't have them up there if people weren't buying them. Yeah, you'll have to excuse me. I'm still a little dozy offy. It's making me angry. I really do think, you know, oh man, Let's, I really do think that I'm, running low on vitamin B or something, because yes, and everybody's saying, "Go get the shot, go get the shot." Yes, I'm just going to, uh, you know, heave myself out the front door and have them call out an ambulance to pick me up and put me in a trolley and cart me out so that they can stick me in the arm for a vitamin B. No, I don't think so. I always wondered why these, could it be more than, is there anything other than cost? But why, I always kind of wondered why these energy drinks didn't throw some vitamin C in there with that vitamin B that they have in. Especially considering the citrus flavors. Oh man, I was so upset. I was so upset. I had asked her to pick up, asked someone to pick up some high C for me. Not high C, uh, Tang. Tang. What is Tang known for? Certain things. First of all, being an astronaut drink. Second, being high in vitamin C. And, well, there was that stretch a couple months ago where I bought myself a case of Monster Energy drink. Bought myself a case of little orange bottles of orange juice. I'd mix, the orange juice and the vitamin and the orange juice and the energy drink together. It actually seemed to help. I actually seemed to be perkier, have more energy. Just felt healthier anyway. My back's starting to act up. One of those things where you sit down and then you get up and you start to move and your spine goes, "What are you doing?" Yeah. Um, what it is that, like I said, they're trying over half of the revenue in the gaming industry is coming, something like 60%. 60% of all the revenue is coming from these little rinky-tink mobile games. And console games make up another fourth, and PC games make up the final fourth, with little odds and ends fitting in the gaps in between. And they want that slice of that great big huge pie, and I can't you can't blame them for wanting that. Oh man, the feed's shot to hell. Thing of it is that what all these people look at, oh, we make big profits of that, and they aren't looking too closely at the ethical implications. And namely, these online games, a little more than Skinner boxes. You know, push the right button, get a treat. Push the wrong button, get zapped. Excuse me. Tired and I'm out of energy, and I'm just cranky. Just open. Let's see. I got another commission to do. Better pull up the commission info. Oh, beg your pardon. I'd love to know why my landlord is sitting on that check I sent her for so long. I really don't appreciate it when she does that. Mobile home life. All the taxes of being a homeowner combined with all the rent of being a renter. Yeah. Okay, commission for book. Betty Adams. Okay, black and white drawing. 3 black and white drawings. She's been waiting for these. Navy jacket with yellow elbow patches.
Portia is a jumping spider, able to leap up to 50 times her own body length. Nowhere seems beyond her.
Let's picture. I'm not seeing a picture. Well, that's no good. There's supposed to be a rough sketch of the character. Just looking here. Okay, well, I gotta send a message to him anyway. Oh, fudge. Let's see. Doesn't help in the least. Commissions. Okay, fudge. Open. Documents. I'm sorry, I'm just digging through some files and stuff here, trying to get some stuff organized. I really don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just frustrated with myself right now. I don't know what it is that I want or that I need. It's very, very frustrating and peculiar, and you really want to annoy me? Give me advice. Like most people, I don't want advice. I don't want help. I don't want people helping me so much as I just want to vent. Vent, another word for whine. I do not know what's holding me back. But I know, whatever is holding us back is coming from me. of a conundrum. Oh, let's see here. Reload. Okay. If I could make a movie of any of my stories or comics, which one would I make? I always thought that Nip and Tuck, it'd be a very particular storyline. It'd probably be it would crib notes from. I even had a rough idea for what kind of movie story line. Nip and Tuck managed to find one of Big Malarkey's eggs, and they end up on a cross-country trip to try and get the egg to a researcher who is an expert, an expert cryptozoologist, because they can't, they can't convince anybody to come out and see them, so they have to go see him, and they end up taking a cross-country trip, them and Tagger, to try and get the egg to them. Meanwhile, Thelma gets wrapped up in a beauty pageant. It's a televised cross country. It's another nationwide thing. They're traveling from she and Caravan are traveling from state to state in this contest, and it turns out that it's actually a scam. It would take me forever to describe the storyline. Basically, Nip and Tuck are traveling cross country and getting in all sorts of trouble, trying to get this priceless, basically dinosaur egg to this science expert before he leaves to go back to Europe. And in the meanwhile, Thelma is finding out that this Miss America style pageant she's gotten involved in is actually a scam on the order of think The Bachelor. It's actually, the whole thing is actually a huge reality show where well, basically it's a pig party. The managers of the show have gotten the most awkward, clumsy, ugly, unattractive, personally unpleasant and and bad, unlikable bunch of girls that they could find in every state. And it is basically going to be a big farce of a beauty pageant with the worst girl of the lot being crowned. And they picked up Thelma because they decided she was a gormless hayseed. And eventually, those two trails, those two paths, those two stories are going to cross in Hollywood. And that's when it's all going to hit the fan. But, of course, that is a way too complicated idea, really. I like it personally, but it's way too complicated a plot. It would take too much. It would take too much to make everything come together correctly. Maybe. Probably. It might have been a better idea than the probability bomb, you mean? Yeah, possibly. I've all but decided that I'm just going to try and refund everybody that got involved in that. Refund everybody that contributed. And then once I've done that, I'll close it up. There was a time when I thought, I thought I was a ball of fire. This stupid video feed. It's infuriating. Piece of crap. Old age has changed me. Well, obviously. But, it used to be, you used to look at those, lifestyles of the rich and famous, and you look at that house and you go, ooh, it'd be nice to live in that. And I'd be like, ooh, that'd be nice to live there. And, oh, what a great big beautiful mansion. And then I reached an age where, oh, man, my first thought is, oh, man, what it must take to keep that place clean. How much must it cost for the maid service, because if you got a house that big like that, you're not going to be cleaning it all yourself. No. No, no, no. And they were doing this one of these shows, looking at $30 million. These hotels, these were rooms. These were apartments. Okay, apartments. That were renting. The rent was $3 million. Something like, what was it? $30 million. I'm forgetting whether I'm remembering 3 million or 30 million. Well, oh yeah, like 3 million isn't that much, But they were showing pictures of it, and I'm looking at that. That looks like, that doesn't look particularly expansive. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it. What's the big deal? Oh, they have a pool out front. Oh, they have a pool out front. Yes, that's really worth umpty $1 million a year. It's crazy. It's just stupid. It's in New York City, of course. They've got dozens of multi-million-dollar apartments in New York City. Inflation in New York must be absolutely insane. Wouldn't want to live there. I'd like to visit, just visit, but on somebody else's budget. Oh my. Oh. Okay, I gotta run to the restaurant. Uh, oh my. Let's see. I'm like, if I'm gonna get like a $1 million house, it's gonna be a rather unique house. It's going to have utilities and features and things that no ordinary house is going to have. I don't want to pay extra just because the floor is marble. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to pay extra because the ceiling is 50 feet high. No, what's the point to that? Okay, I'll be right back. I return. Hi ho. Of course, probability bomb. By the time I save up enough money to pay off everybody. That's right. You probably they're probably going to end up having to do it, role-playing game adventurer style. Show up and loot my tomb. Three bags of bottle caps. Here you go. I wonder what it was he passed away from. Stan Lee, that is. Other than extreme age, his oldness. Whatever happened to that? See, when is Thanksgiving this year? What day is Thanksgiving? I forget. It's Thursday the... It isn't tomorrow, is it? That'd be nice. Neighbors usually give me a plate. But, yeah. Okay, so what's on everybody's mind? Come on, talk to me. Try and fill this empty space between my ears with something. Come on. Let's see here. Window capture 2. Okay. Just come on, erase already. I still have to find and re-upload all those pins. I actually managed to... pins are kind of wobbly. I don't know. Stabilization, post correction. I think I've reached the limit of my art. You know, the limits of my ability as a writer, as an artist, rather. Just you know, the wall. Come on, computer. Come on, computer. Figures that the zoom would get all fidgety. Think you can guess where this one is going. Where's the worst trope or the trope I hate the most? I don't know. I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is uh, the just the plot that hinges entirely on anybody, the idiot ball. Okay, one of them is the idiot ball, where all of a sudden the characters are acting stupider than they ever have in their entire lives, in order for the plot of the show or the episode or the book to move forward. Normally, they're normally competent. They would normally be perfectly capable of handling these circumstances. But suddenly it's like, just half their IQ points just dropped off the back of the wagon. That's a real peeve. But yeah, the idiot ball, and the just spit it out. I hate that. Where the entire plot hinges, requires, in fact, the entire plot. Uh, I'm trying to spit the words out here. The entire conflict of the story, the entire thing that keeps the story moving as long as it does, is the fact that nobody just spits out the information they need to. If they just say it, and move forward, and there's no moral, ethical, or common sense reason for them to be doing it this way. They just refuse to say what needs to be said. For something like 50 years, Superman and Lois Lane went round the merry-go-round because Superman, couldn't reach down, grab hold of his lug nuts, and tell her. And don't get it, oh, but he had to keep his secret identity secret, you know, in order to keep all the loved ones, he goes, to protect all the people that, you know, he loved and cared. Yeah, well, we noticed that the fact that he kept his secret identity secret didn't seem to keep Lois Lane out of trouble anyway. Because everybody and their dog knew that Lois Lane and Superman had something going on. So, dumb reasoning. In fact, the original writers of Superman, the interesting thing was that they had an entirely different introduction for the introduction of kryptonite. There is the unfinished comic online. You can read it, and the kryptonite worked entirely different. And during the story about the introduction of kryptonite, Lois Lane ended up learning Superman's secret identity, and this was back in the first couple of years of Superman. Originally, kryptonite was discovered as a big asteroid that was going to bypass Earth. And while kryptonite took away Superman's powers, it made ordinary people super strong. But as the kryptonite meteor drew close, you know, this asteroid drew closer, Superman's powers started going wonky, and he ended up having to confide in Lois Lane, you know, because, you know, he was up a creek. But anyway, that story never went. You know, that story never went to publication. Anyway, there's so many stories where Harry Potter, most of the Harry Potter franchise, most of it consisted of just all the problems they had. Nearly all the problems they had were because Dumbledore wouldn't tell anybody anything. Oh, I didn't want to give you the burden of that. I wanted you to have an innocent childhood, Harry. Horse shit. If you wanted him to have a happy, innocent childhood, you wouldn't have left him on the doorstep of the Dursleys. You know, from year one, Voldemort and his flunkies were running around trying to kill Harry. It might have been of some use to Harry to know why. You know, and all the problems that cropped up in the stories were because Dumbledore was too tight-lipped to tell anybody else the important things they needed to know. And I hate it. You know, the cryptic mentor, that's another one I hate. You realize that if you look back, basically Obi-Wan spent his whole life lying to Luke Skywalker. From a certain point of view, that's Jedi for I lied my ass off. He's a jerk. The Jedi were jerks. And I hate to say it, yeah, the Jedi Order needed to go. Because their philosophy was crap, and their behavior was terrible. And the fact that Obi-Wan was perfectly comfortable lying to Luke Skywalker for all those years. Yeah, that he was his neighbor. That was his whole reason for being on. His whole reason for being on Tatooine was to look after Luke Skywalker. You think maybe a little training might have been a good idea somewhere in there? Oh, by the way, the scariest mother, the scariest mother in the galaxy is going to come looking for you to kill you someday. Here's a pointy laser sword, just in case. And wouldn't you like to have been Luke? Okay, wouldn't you have been like to have been Luke when you figured out? Oh, so let's see. So you gave my sister over to a royal family to be a princess her entire life, and you dumped my ass on this sandball called Tatooine. To spend my whole life trying to suck water out of desert air. Oh yeah, they don't like to mention it, but most of Star Wars, the original script, massive ripoff of Dune. No lie. Seriously, you would not believe how much of it he was ripping off. He had to rewrite it Lucas had to rewrite it half a dozen times before it was acceptable. Not Lucas, whatever his name was. Well, Lucas, whatever. I don't know where anybody got the idea that a cryptic mentor was a good idea for a story. I really don't. Because I've never seen it done well. I've never seen an example of a cryptic mentor that was done well. That was, that you didn't go, this guy's not a mentor, he's an a-hole. Tell me that didn't crush my. Your father was killed by Darth Vader, and you find out years later they used Darth Vader. That Luke, I am your father. I remember reading it. They actually went to serious lengths to keep anybody from finding out. Crazy lengths. As in the actors actually got a different script. Where he says, Luke says, he told me you killed my father, and he says no. In the script they used on set, it said Obi-Wan killed your father. which technically was true. Would have been true. Dumbass couldn't even bring himself to finish the job. Guy, he's Anakin's lying there, 3 limbs, severed, and he's roasting alive like a marshmallow. And he's like, he walks off, leaves him there. For no other reason than a mercy kill. Come on. And it's interesting how he only bursts into flame after he falls down. He doesn't actually land in the lava. It's like, suddenly they remember that, thermal convection. You can't get that close to lava. You can't get that close to lava without protective gear. The heat from the air will roast you alive. I had an entirely different ending pictured in my head, whole different cinematography for it. And Lucas managed to disappoint me. Seriously. I could have filmed those scenes. I could have filmed those scenes and done a better job. And instead of that last scene, you underestimate my power, blah, 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 blah. I would have had them dueling on those walkways, and then Anakin gets grievously injured, and then a huge gout of lava. They get separated, they fall back. Anakin falls down wounded on the walkway. Then a huge eruption of lava explodes up between him and Obi-Wan, blotting Anakin out of sight and driving Obi-Wan away. The surgery scene I definitely would have done differently. I'm like, crap. Worse medical technology than we have today. Come on. At least look up some hospitals, find out how they do it now, When you look at a movie and go, I could have done this better, and that's when they're starting to fail, What gets me is, okay, got some guy that came on, called all the Blizzard fans who booed the announcement of Diablo Infinite, the one's going straight to portable. He basically called them a bunch of spoiled, privileged crybabies. They have been. Tell me again. It's, the fan. That's a brilliant way to boost the stock prices. You know what I'm saying? But spoiled. Spoiled crybabies. Let's see. Some of these fans that were sitting there in the audience were people who have been fans of the Diablo franchise for how long? Decades. And many of them had plunked down hundreds of dollars on Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and various merchandise and and had been waiting on pins and needles for them to finally finish Diablo 3 and put it out on the PC like they had the others. And instead of getting the big announcement that they had been waiting for, that Blizzard had been pumping them up for over a year, instead of getting the big release announcements, what do they get? Diablo, the Candy Crush version. So yeah, they got booed. They booed them. That doesn't make them spoiled. That makes them frustrated and unhappy customers. Like one guy said, "What? You don't have a phone? Y'all don't have phones?" Well, as a matter of fact, jackass, no, I do not have a smartphone. And I didn't, and if I was in that audience, I would have been. I didn't come all this way and pay to get into this convention just to be informed that, the Diablo franchise has now joined Candy Crush and Farmville on my cell phone. No, this is not what I came here for. This is not what I, invested my time for. This is not what I've been a devoted fan for. The fans have a right to expect something from a creative source. Maybe. Maybe they do. I remember when they finally came out with Duke Nukem, when the new version, it bombed. It was a complete bomb. It's like, nice work. You lived down to all the fans' expectations. I'm really not looking forward to looking up all that information on how to install those pins, man. Hair needs a little work on that. Mass rock, small stone, artificial, rubble, crack, wooden fence, iron fence, total bubble. I used to have one that was broken glass. I'm gonna have to upload that one again. Oh well. Sorry if I've gotten a little quiet. Just when I actually start drawing, I tend to get real mute. I hate it when it does it. Work on that in a minute. Needs a little work. Perspective can really screw you up if you don't know the ins and outs of it. Oh, Biggie pie. Oh, goodness. Big yawn. Big yawn. What did they put in a comic book before the film came out? I think I missed a part of that conversation. By the way, if any of you feel the sudden urge to drop a buck or two into the donation tin on my website, that'd be groovy. And I'm also always taking commissions. I'm also always behind on commissions. Okay, so what were you saying about they put it in a comic book first? What did they put it in the comic book before the film came out? I'll sit here and wait for your answer. I'm not going to win any prizes for dynamic anatomy. That's for darn sure. Looking at this artwork. I don't kid myself. I would have probably never been able to hack it as a professional artist. Rob Liefeld to the contrary. It just no. Professional, Marvel or DC comic artist, no. Couldn't have acted it. I'm a comic. I'm a Saturday morning. Draw it in the comic page. I'm a newspaper comic artist. That's all I am. That's really as far as I got. But again, what were you saying about YouTuber was saying then they put it in a comic book before the film came out. What was that in response to? Uh, if anyone knows. I don't think YouTuber is there. I don't know. I don't know. Well, live and learn. I look at all this stuff. I look at my current pantry condition. I'm running out of everything. I've got. I found some. I found some like chicken that time forgot back in my freezer. Got freezer burn from hell on it, but I'm gonna see if it's edible. Thaw it out, defrost it, cook it up. I'm just glad, that I did go to the effort of stockpiling when I could. Stashing up, storing up food for well times like this. Uh, Need to reevaluate what kind of things I store though, because uh, I don't know. There's too many. At least even now, I'm like, I mean, I am out of bread, out of milk, out of I'm almost out of. I got one. I got about a dozen eggs left. Got no meat. I ate my last can of spam yesterday. Got you get that no meat, no veggies, no fresh veggies, no fresh fruit, nothing. It's just cleaned out. I got like bags of frozen French fries and a few eggs and lots of cans of soup. I bought those cans of soup largely in the mistaken belief that I would have lots and lots of meat and dairy products and bread to serve them with. Hysterical, Archangel. Okay. Man, right now the tank is empty. You know what I'm saying? I am just no energy. I'm out of sugar. I'm almost out of flour. Probably making my last batch of pancakes tomorrow. Just empty. And the thing that's driving me freaking insane is that this should not be the situation. I had enough money to buy my own groceries, but because the person I depended on to pick up stuff at the grocery store for me decided to do a vanishing act. And I went from having $100 set aside to having nothing. Just fizzled away. And had a commission the other day. Did the commission up, and I had $50, but no way to get to the store. That bought a few meals though, so I gotta say a big thank you for that. Yeah, well, there were a lot of things that were popular back in Rome that were really stupid, like drinking out of lead cups. Not in this area. That's the refrain, Archangel. Not in this area. I don't think we even have Uber in this area. I've checked all sorts of business. I've checked these dry goods places, bulk stores and everything, and they, oh yeah, we do shipping, and you give them the zip code. Not in that area. I'm sorry. There's Jolly Pirate Donuts. This one makes me want to cry. I found out that Jolly Pirate Donuts does delivery. We've got a Jolly Pirate Donut store in this town. And guess which Jolly Pirates Donut store in all the chains doesn't do delivery? Probably going to end up calling my parents, asking them if I give them the money, if they could go do the grocery shopping for me, and they're going to have to drive all the way out here. Just feels like it. Feels like a conspiracy. Even the Chinese places don't deliver around here. We have like 2 or 3 Chinese restaurants. None of them deliver. Can you believe it? The only people who deliver here are the pizza places. Here's a recommendation for you. Papa John's Pizza. They don't just do regular pizza. They also do pizza with I forget what type of. Well, they also do pizza with barbecue sauce instead of marinara. I've ordered several of those. I've ordered a lot of those. Those are good. Those are good. You get a pizza order and you click on it. You say barbecue instead of regular sauce. You ask barbecue and have them top it off with chicken and beef barbecue pizza. They also have the cheese. They also have their cheeseburger pizza, which uses some sort of cheeseburger sauce. It's okay, It's not something you want to have every night, but it's pretty good. And dang, I'm freezing here. I wish they did dessert pizzas. Those would rock. Top them with fruit and chocolate, and use caramel sauce or chocolate sauce, and then top them with all sorts of fruits and nuts, and that'd be good. Anything would be good right about now. Yeah. Sitting here being chilly. Sitting here with I got one sleeve over my electric heater. Let the hot air blow up the sleeve of my bathrobe. Keep half of me warm. Angry at myself. Tired of myself. Let's see. Yeah. What is this? Somebody by the name of Schumer. We are going to fight to let everybody vote. What I mean is that they're actually lobbying to try. There are Democrat politicians out there actually actively lobbying to try and let illegal immigrants vote. just I cannot comprehend the level of. I mean, they're gaslighting. They have to be. These people are illegal immigrants. They're lawful voters. These horrible, horrible people. Makes me mad. I keep going. I keep clicking. This is one news site. They'll take a story. They'll take a story and divide it up into 25 pages, and you have to click on each one. That's how they boost their numbers, and it's infuriating. And it won't let you click all the way to the end of them first, so you can see what the heck the big reveal. You got to click through all of them. Bastards. If you'd all like to make a commission, I would be certainly happy to take one. Because I like eating. I also like warmth. I ain't doing it. I'm gonna have to ask my. I'm gonna have to call my parents and ask them to come and do my grocery shopping for me. That's embarrassing. That's humiliating. Well, once I have some money next month, then I can do it. I'll be honest. It never occurred to me that to ask them. And now that it has, I'm appalled at the very idea. They live like like I said, as far away as they do, and as elderly as they are, and as it's please tell me, do you think I'm irrational for not wanting to ask my parents to grocery shop for me? You know, to ask them to come all the way over from the county they live in to this county just to you know, pick up my grocery list. It is embarrassing. I don't want my parents scrutinizing my grocery list. I don't want my parents to see the inside of my house the way it is all the time. I don't want them to see me the way I am all the time. I'm a mess. Because they'll start fretting and then they'll start nagging. And I have enough trouble with a nag in the mirror. I don't think it's so much pride as shame. Plus, I really don't like having to ask them to go so far out of their way for something that I should be able to take care of here at home. You know, it's maddening that something so simple. It is so maddening that I can't take care of something so simple. And that every measure I have taken to try and take care of things has only, just fallen apart the instant I look away. It's maddening. they've already got season 8 of My Little Pony out on Netflix. I'm like, holy crap, where the time has flown. I don't think I've finished season 6. And what season is it now? Season 9? Season 9 is next spring. Ah. Like I said before, I'm really not enthused. I'm really not enthused to see what they've done with the shows since I stopped watching. The whole premise has really okay. The whole Princess of Friendship thing, School of Friendship thing, all of it. It's okay. Look, when the show started, the whole studying friendship thing was basically an in joke. It was something that Princess Celestia came up with because Twilight Sparkle didn't wanted needed a justification for staying in Ponyville, where her friends were, the first friends she'd ever really made. And the whole point of the show was that uh, Twilight Sparkle, lived in the Twilight Sparkle. The old joke is that Twilight Sparkle lived in the friendliest place on Earth, and had also, and everybody around, and that she was the only one. She was the one who needed to learn about making friends. She needed to learn the value of having friends and friendship. But they've taken it and they've gone off the rails with it. Now she's going out there lecturing other members of her own tribe about how to be a really good friend. And like, okay, liver pills to Carter, like I've said before, and just as something about her starting a school of friendship. I'm not sure if I can put into words what bugs me about that. Well, among other things, friends are something you have to help you survive the ordeal of school. Okay? They're not something you go to school to learn how to have. The incredibly unfunny joke of her taking one of the most natural things in the world, making friends, and turning it into basically math homework. it just sort of makes me go, eh. Be truthful though, there are only so many moral lessons you can have about friendship. And they used up the concept a while ago. But they're still digging. They're trying to take what is supposed to be a general theme. Friendship is wonderful. They're trying to make they're trying to squeeze as many moral of the episodes out of it as they can, and they're out. There's only pretty much all that's left is going over old ground. And when you're a kid, there are thousands of things that a child needs to learn about life, about friendship, about family, about people, about how people work together, how they connect with one another. About morals, about ethics, uh, about the culture you live in, about about the society you live with, and friendship. Nothing wrong with the topic. Like I said when I first started watching the show, it had a really positive message, but they've used the message up, I think. And now they're just sort of disintegrating into self-parody, if not outright self-satire. You know what the difference is between parody and satire? Parody is gentle. Satire is done with a sneer. And what am I understanding about this is that, okay, they have had villain after villain after villain, several villains who dang near destroyed the world. And am I to understand that in the most recent season, they had some little filly who they ended up sending to Tartarus? What the hell did that kid do? What on earth did that kid do? Nightmare Moon nearly froze the planet in eternal darkness. Discord nearly turned it into a madhouse. Starlight Glimmer nearly freaking destroyed the flow of time and space. So what did the villains of the movie turned the princesses to stone? What did this kid do that they? Oh yeah, she stole all the a little filly stole, but they're not going to forgive her. They're not going to forgive her but they're going to let everybody, including Chrysalis, if she ever says she's very sorry, they let everybody else off the hook except her. Explain to me how this child rates a more harsh punishment than Nightmare Moon. I'd like to hope they come around and go, whoops, maybe we really ought to have another episode where we fix that. But no. Of course, they're not going to fix it. Why would they ever listen to us? Why would they ever listen to the fans? Why would they listen to common sense? No, they're not going to do that. They didn't listen to us about Twilight. They didn't listen to us about the Cutie Mark Crusaders. They didn't listen to us about, oh, give me a break. They haven't listened to us about Scootaloo yet either, has she? Has Scootaloo flown yet? Has Scootaloo flown yet? If Scootaloo hasn't flown, just call me back later. Call me back when Scootaloo flies. So damn sick of this special snowflake crap. Look. There's nothing. This is a terrible message. Being handicapped makes you special. No. Hell, if you read my fan fictions, you know just where I stand on that crap. You know why they have that? You know why they have it like that? You know why we left her handicapped because being handicapped makes her special. You know why they do that? Because our society is screwed up. That's why. That's why. Our society is utterly screwed up. Our society punishes actual achievement. If you succeed in business, it's because you're an evil capitalist pig, thief, robber who stole the wealth from the poor, If you accomplish anything, it's because you're racist or sexist or bigoted or an evil capitalist or, anyway. The only thing that you are allowed to stand out from the crowd is by being a victim. Victim class is the only thing you are allowed to be. That's the only thing that people are, people are allowed to stand out by. Victims, they don't just get sympathy; they get praise. During the Gulf War, 2 different women. One of them, out there kicking ass and taking names. I forget which. I think she took out a bunker by herself. She was, I forget what award she was. Nobody knows her name. Nobody knows her name. Nobody ever saw her face. She was never on the cover of a magazine ever. Another woman, her division screws up. She gets captured and held prisoner until other soldiers rescue her. She gets home. She gets ticker tape parades. No lie. The actual hero is forgotten. The victim is given ticker tape parades. You see, this is why I'm not watching the show anymore. All that dang magic flying around. They can't turn a non-flying Pegasus into a flying one. My ass. Of course, I've griped about that so many times and over so many years now. See, this is what they do to fans. They suck you and then they hurt you. That seems to be the slogan of every corporation and franchise out there. Star Wars, Star Trek, the Marvel, DC. Cartoons like My Little Pony of all things, their objective, Blizzard, the game company is, their objective seems to be to hate on their own fandom as much as they possibly can, to disappoint them on the most important and fundamental things. I know I'm a disappointment to my fans 9/10 of the time. But rest assured, at least I'm not doing it deliberately. Okay, I disappoint my fans. I disappoint my fans because I do not produce the way I should. I used to be able to crank out. I used to be able to crank out 2 or 3 comic strips a day. Of course, they look like crap, but I could. But I don't go out of my way to deliberately destroy my my quote unquote franchises. I don't rewrite my old characters as something guaranteed for my audience to hate. The only time you see social justice issues come up here on my comics is to parody them, to hold them up for scorn and ridicule, not to use them as a as a as a as a as a blueprint for the comics. I don't go out there and let's see what's the shittiest possible idea I can come with. Oh, that'll be perfect. We'll run the comic. We'll do that in the next comic. Yeah. kind of an emotional cripple does it take to do that? Pooh, bug. Ooh, eh. A real bug fly in your mouth. Well, there you go. I said this ages ago. You know, after a certain point, it's the fans that produce the good quality stuff. Because they're doing it out, out of a love for the product. You know what I'm saying? A love for the franchise. The corporation is doing it. They're prolonging the product, but they're doing it out of a desire to squeeze it for every last dime. At the same time, they are terrified of the opinions of people who aren't even going to partake of the product. They're out there cringing and mewling and groveling before uh, these these the you know these social justice activists And we need to come up with a more derisive term for that. We really do. I've been calling them the estrogen rangers. But it's not just feminism. It's all these other social sensitivity stupidities that seem to be coming out of nowhere. Schmucks. The entire is the bowing and scraping and groveling and pandering to these people who don't even buy a ticket, you know? Why? Of course, I pointed out years ago that they're not in this. They're not just in this for the money. You've seen these people. Buy a $250,000 dress just to show up at the Academy Awards. You know, they're in it for the praise, for the ego stroke, and they've been conditioned ever since they arrived in Hollywood. And ever since they got into the entertainment industry, whether it's involved directly in Hollywood or not, that you need the accolades and the praise and the ego strokes and everything from the right people, especially those in the industry. They're more concerned with the praise of the people in the industry than the praise of their customers, than the praise of their fans. Because when they started out, it wasn't the fans that decided whether or not they were going to be successful. It was these a-holes that were running things and catering to their tastes, to their political motivations, to their ethnic and social sensitivities was more important. And you consider that Hollywood has got to be dominated by people with knee-jerk socialist beliefs. You either pander to them or you are forgotten. You could be the biggest hit in Hollywood. You could be the biggest star in Hollywood. And if they decide they don't like you, you're gone. You're dead. You're dust. You're smoke. What's his name? The guy on Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson. Well, I'm sure the guy had problems, but it was the Hollywood elite who decided that he was persona non grata because they tolerate absolute skank bags around themselves all the time, and these people only get thrown out. Like, what's his name? What was the name of that grizzled fat lardo who was, that he just came out recently that he's been sexually harassing women and all this other stuff. And these women are coming. It was me too. He said you play with me, you suck my ding-a-ling or you won't ever be a star. And I'm like he was the only one. Everybody inside and outside Hollywood knows about the casting couch. Don't try and play me for a fool. And what happened was that he did something God only knows what, that put him on the outs with the elites. And so they dug up some dirt. They didn't have to dig far, and got him ousted. That's what happened. That's what really happened to Bill Cosby. Come on, you're telling me that a woman waits what? Let's see. It was in the 1970s. She claimed he got her drunk. He got her drunk. He got her stoned. He took sexual advantage of her, and then he said bye bye. And she waits from the 70s to like 2 years ago. You're telling me she waited 30 plus years to get her revenge? No. Somebody dug her up. Bill Cosby had started coming out and saying things that offended the African American community, or rather the race baiters who have been leading the African American community around by the nose. He came out and said things that he just basically said, these kids out here, what are you doing out? He said that the African American community has got all sorts of problems, and it is the African American community's fault. It's not the fault of white people. And that was enough. And all of a sudden, boom, surprise. Hello, Mr. Cosby. Remember this lady from 30 years ago? And away it goes. They have spent their entire lives pandering to people with thimbles for brains, the morals of pigs, and the social philosophies of the village idiot. And now, even though they've arrived, even though they've reached a point where they can, where they don't have to be dictated to, they're still in the habit. So all it takes is some loony from the boonies to come out, fluff up her neon-colored hair, raise her frills, and hiss, and accuse them of being ethnically or gender or culturally insensitive, or something, whatever the pop phrase is this week, and they'll fold like wet toast. Never occurs to them that these loonies from the boonies aren't spending a dime on their product anyway. They spent their entire careers pandering, and so now they continue pandering to people whose opinions are worthless. They don't know how to have any balls. That's why they do it. Even decades, they no longer have to worry about it. They no longer have to kowtow to these people, but they do it anyway. They're as conditioned as Pavlov's dogs. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, drool, 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 drool. What a loss and what a waste. Meanwhile, all the people that actually supported them the fans who bought the ticket. They get kicked to the curb faster than you can say boo. Look at J.K. Rowling. Look at J.K. Rowling. She's already made more money than than half the country she lives in. She could build a mansion out of bricks of £1 notes. But she's still out there. She's weather vaning. She's, all it took, bunch of toucan-haired gay people came in. Where aren't there any gay characters in the story? Because the story isn't about butt fucking. I apologize for my language, but doggone it! Because gay people are a vanishingly small minority who are not in the middle of everything in the universe. Last we checked, the Milky Way galaxy does not revolve around them. But no, she couldn't just say, because the story's not about it. No, she could, oh well, actually, I've always felt that one character was gay was Dumbledore. Yeah, he was gay. And all the fans of the movies that worshipped at the feet of the girl who played Hermione. Why didn't you have Harry and Hermione hook up? Why'd you ever marry Ron? Why'd you ever marry Ron? Ron's not here. Bleh. And she said, oh well, I guess, I never really thought Ron was meant for her, but I went ahead with it anyway, and well, if I did it again today, and blah 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 blah, no spine. She's desperate to remain current. She's desperate to remain relevant. Oh well, gee, yes, I suppose that Hermione could have been black. I never really say, last straw, man, last straw. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Okay, it is 9:20. Close enough to 9:30, I think. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night for tonight. As always, my website is open. I am, as always, open for commissions. In fact, really, if you want a commission, it'd be really good for all concerned if you kicked in for it now, because this is help the starving artist kind of thing. And the website has that, you go up to the top link, and it goes commissions and so on and so forth. You click on that link, and it'll take you to a page where you can pick out what size and whether you want black or white and color and all that other stuff. Just go to www.rhjunior.com and look at the links at the top of the page. Call now, our operators are standing by. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clock out. I actually drew today. Hurrah. So, we'll try and keep that momentum going, won't we? Come back tomorrow. Maybe I should have the show early in the morning. I don't know. But tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. But I'll see you all later. Y'all take care of yourselves. Please throw a dollar in the hat if you could, because Papa needs a new brand new pair of shoes, so to speak. And I will see you all later. Good night. God bless.